He thought I would beg. Those words, now echoing in the quiet chambers of my mind. Did he truly believe that? Did he, in his estimation of me, see someone so weak, so dependent, so utterly devoid of self-worth, that the dissolution of our, whatever it was, would send me spiraling into a pathetic vortex of supplication? The sheer audacity of that presumption, the galling underestimation of my spirit, is almost comical in its absurdity. Snotty, heartbroken sobs, frantic phone calls at ungodly hours, maybe even a dramatic rain-soaked scene on his doorstep. A desperate plea for him to reconsider, to take me back, to salvage the wreckage of us. He painted a picture in his mind, no doubt of me reduced to a shadow of myself. A clinging vine desperately grasping for a trellis. He probably imagined me, paralyzed by the fear of being alone, of navigating the world without his guidance, his presence. The thought itself is almost laughable. Perhaps he based this ludicrous expectation on past experiences. Maybe he was accustomed to women who wilted under his pronouncements, who saw him as some indispensable anchor in their lives. Maybe he'd cultivated an ego, fed by the dependence of others, a fragile edifice built on the insecurity he projected onto those around him. He simply never truly saw me. He saw a reflection of himself in the mirror I held up. A distorted image, filtered through his own biases and insecurities. He saw what he wanted to see, what he expected to see, and conveniently ignored the reality of the woman standing before him. The unwavering resolve in my gaze, the quiet strength that had been forged in the fires of my own life, experiences long before he ever entered the picture. The irony, of course, is that the moment those words, "It's over," finally tumbles from his lips, a strange sense of lightness, of liberation washed over me. It wasn't the gut-wrenching pain he likely anticipated. It wasn't the crushing weight of heartbreak that he probably expected to inflict. It was a relief, pure, unadulterated relief. Like shedding the heavy. The air suddenly felt cleaner, the colors brighter, the path ahead clearer and more inviting. In that instant I realized with a startling clarity that thus he was so casually dismantling was a construct, a fragile edifice built on compromise and concession. Mostly on my part, it was a relationship where I had consistently minimized myself, dimmed my own light to accommodate his insecurities, muted my own voice to avoid triggering his fragile ego. And in that moment of supposed loss, I felt a surge of something akin to gratitude. Gratitude for the courage, however belated, to finally sever the ties that had been binding me, however subtly, for far too long. While he was still basking in the supposed power of his pronouncement, while he was probably already rehearsing his lines for the inevitable post-breakup drama, he anticipated my mind was already miles ahead. I felt a surge of something akin to gratitude. Gratitude for the courage, however belated, to finally sever the ties that had been binding me, however subtly, for far too long. While he was still basking in the supposed power of his pronouncement, while he was probably already rehearsing his lines for the inevitable post-breakup drama, he anticipated my mind was already miles ahead. But firmly focused on the what's next. And what was next in my mind was not a period of mourning, not a descent into despair, but a swift, decisive, and utterly liberating departure. begging the thought. It was an alien concept of foreign language. My spirit simply didn't speak. Instead, a quiet, unwavering resolve settled within me. A sense of purpose, of direction sharpened into focus. I didn't need to beg, I needed to pack. And pack I did, not with frantic haste. Not with tear-blurred vision. But with a calm, methodical efficiency that surprised even myself. Each item I folded, each box I filled, was a tangible step away from the suffocating weight of us, and towards the exhilarating freedom of me. My clothes carefully chosen, each piece reflecting a facet of my personality that had been slowly suffocating under the beige blanket of our relationship. My books, my loyal companions, whispering tales of resilience, of independence, of women who forged their own paths, undeterred by societal expectations or the limitations imposed by others. My dreams, my aspirations, a testament to the vibrant, inner life that had often been overlooked or worse, dismissed. Each item packed was a reclaiming of myself, a reaffirmation of my individual identity, a declaration of independence from the narrative he had attempted to impose upon me. There was no anger fueling my actions, no bitterness poisoning my resolve. A sense of purpose so clear, so unwavering that it felt almost exhilarating. I moved through the apartment, not with the heavy tread of sorrow, but with the light, purposeful steps of someone embarking on a long, awaited journey. The air in the apartment, which had felt thick and stale for months, suddenly seemed to clear. Sunlight streamed through the windows, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. No longer symbols of neglect, but rather tiny beacons of hope, of new beginnings. He thought I'd beg. He envisioned me clinging to the wreckage of us, desperately trying to piece together the shards of something that was already broken, beyond repair. But while he was indulging in this self-serving fantasy, I was dismantling the stage upon which his drama was supposed to unfold. I was packing away the props, striking the set, and preparing to exit stage left, leaving him alone in the spotlight, bewildered and utterly devoid of an audience. My bags were not packed with resentment or regret. They were packed with anticipation, with the quiet thrill of stepping into the unknown, of embracing the uncertainty of the future, with open arms and a fearless heart. They were packed with the promise of new adventures, new experiences, new connections, and most importantly, a renewed connection with myself. The woman I had been slowly losing sight of. Within the confines of us, they were packed with the seeds of a future I would cultivate on my own terms. A future where my voice would be amplified, my dreams pursued with unwavering passion, and my spirit allowed to soar, unburdened by the weight of expectations that were never truly mine to bear. As I zipped up the last bag, a sense of finality settled over me. Not sadness, but closure. I glanced around the apartment. A space that had once felt like a shared haven now felt like a temporary stopover. On a much larger journey, it held memories. Yes, some good, some less so, but none of them were strong enough to tether me to this place, to this past. My gaze lingered for a moment on the empty space on the wall, where our framed photo had hung, a saccharine symbol of a love that had never truly been. Now the space was bare, clean, ready to be filled with something new, something authentic, something that truly reflected who I was and who I was becoming. I picked up my bags, the weight surprisingly manageable, almost symbolic of the lightness I felt within. As I walked towards the door, I didn't look back. There was no lingering sense of attachment. No tug of regret. Just a quiet, unwavering sense of purpose. A clear direction, towards a horizon that shimmered with possibility. I placed the keys on the counter. A final silent gesture of closure. The click of the door closing behind me was not the sound of a chapter ending, but the sound of a new one beginning. A chapter written entirely by me. For me and about me he thought I'd beg. He couldn't have been more wrong. Because, while he was lost in his self-constructed drama, I was already on my way. Already embracing the exhilarating uncertainty of a future. Unburdened by the limitations of his expectations. I already packed my bags and left. And in leaving I found not just my freedom, but myself. The strong, confident woman he never truly saw. The woman I was always meant to be. And that, in the grand scheme of things, is a victory far sweeter than any apology, any reconciliation, any pathetic plea for a love that was never truly love at all. It was liberation, it was strength. It was me, finally and unapologetically me. And that, I realized, was more than enough. It was everything he thought I'd beg. Bless his naive, misguided heart. He really didn't know me at all. And in the end, that was his biggest mistake and my greatest triumph. The bags are packed, the door is closed. And the future is wide open. No begging necessary. Just a confident stride into the dawn of a new day. A day I will paint with my own colors. And live on my own terms. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe for daily uploads.